Gordon, send more house to save the house. Come on, the house!
So here we go. The Housecast recording on a Monday night after a good weekend, good weather. I always say the legendary Housecast, but I'm going to change it tonight to the quite famous, popular with other clubs Housecast. For some reason, there's been quite a bit of an uptake on other clubs' players mentioning our Housecast for some reason, but we'll go into that as we start off. So we've got a really good guest on today, a young lad who's come through the academy, a real character, and it'll be good fun to talk through this weekend's game with him and also how he finds it's all gone and his start to the Lancashire League career. But before we go any further, we'll just go around the horse. And Joe Martin, you're down at the club, you've been coaching?
Yeah, I've been coaching tonight, the slightly older end of the juniors.
How many were down?
Not so many, there's a few games on, and there is, holidays and stuff, so not massive numbers tonight, but still worthwhile.
Brilliant. No, it's always good to see. And then we've got Gary and Joe Beneducci who are hosting with us tonight, the three of us, so that'll be really good. Plenty to talk about after the weekend, which was a bit of a, I don't know what you thought of it, Dooch. I was looking around, it was like an impromptu reunion of yesteryear. I really enjoyed it. It was a good crack. I think you went on into the night, is that right?
Yeah, not too late, but yeah, I stopped for a couple,
Yeah, good. It was manager's wife's 30th, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
So that was be good to see the club full. And Gary, you travelled all the way up north, and I think had a couple afterwards as well. Do you have a good evening?
Yeah, probably a couple too many, Henry. But we enjoyed it. You know, you don't get out that much, Jez. You know how it is. Long drive makes you thirsty.
Absolutely. And you obviously couldn't be driving home all that way, 300 miles, so you had to stop out.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it to catch up with numerous various people there, and obviously a good game of cricket. Weather was set fair, so it was a good day, which we'll go into in a minute or two. Is there anything else we need to report on from any of us before I go into the guests from any of the hosts? We're all happy. That's good. I like to hear that. So this lad, I mean, he obviously his introduction, it goes without saying. The family have been down at the club for donkey's years, and his dad has really set his stall out. He's there. And the absolute stalwarts of the club, a proper legend, won loads of trophies that he instigated. I think it's without saying. He was quite instrumental in shaping the club as to where it is now. So, without embarrassing you any further, Henry, it's Henri Cottam. How's it going, Henry?
Well, thank you. You gave a bit more to my dad there than me, I think.
I'm not being funny, Henry. I think your dad's achieved a little bit more than you. So,
I was saying, yeah, of course.
And he's a great fella. He's a lovely fella, so I make no apology about it. But your career down at the club has started off really well. You've obviously getting in the first team on a regular basis now. From what you're way out of my probably two generations, so I don't really know a great deal about you. How have you settled in? Certainly this year with being a regular, being in that first team, a regular pick within it. How is it for you in such a successful season so far?
It's brilliant. Yeah, I'm loving every minute of it, to be honest with you. I think we said it on Sunday, actually, me and Joe Martin, that there's a massive age gap between the youngest two or three and then the rest of the squad. I think, is it 30 is the third youngest?
Yeah, so I think on Saturday, Henry and Tom were the youngest in the team, and then me and Johnny were the third and fourth third and fourth youngest at 30 31. So yeah.
I've never really looked at that. When you get to a certain age, everyone seems young, and there is a bit of a gap there. Because so Tom and Charlie Gansler and Henry would obviously, you don't need to give your age away. Henry, how old are you?
20.
20. Okay. And Tom's what? Is he 21 or 22?
22, I believe.
And Gansler?
Tom's same age as me as Gansler.
Right, okay. So you've got three good young lads there, but established. And then, like you said, Joe, then it's up to you oldies who were 30 plus. So there's a bit of a gap there, which I've never really noticed before. But I think the young players, Joe Martin, from your perspective, the way they've settled in, I know Henry's come right through our system. The other two have come from other clubs over the last 3 years or so. All settled in well. What's it like in the dressing room with the cheeky young rugrats?
Yeah, no, it's great, and you get to hear some of the antics and stuff that they've been up to over the past few weeks. So it's
like what, Joe? Like what?
Just general stuff that we were up to at that age, Joe.
Playing tiddlywinks.
So yeah, no, it's been good. But from a cricket side, it's been really great to see them all find a role within the team and become established, and also see them grow into those roles. So Henry's batted 3 all year and done a really great job. And batting 3 is not an easy task. So Henry's, I think, really grown into that position. And I think when you watched him bat at Walsden last week and then Burnley this week, it's really great to see him, take on attacks and sort of bat around people, and it's been really good. It's been really good to have them involved.
And while we like having a laugh and a joke on here, the more and more I speak to people, they love hearing about that side of the game and how it works and what practice, training, development there is involved in it. And again, Henry, it's a direct question that it's certainly not any criticism whatsoever, but number 3 is a real pivotal spot in a team where there's probably you and Joe Martin, who's on this call, who can hold an innings together, other players can bat round them, the rest of them with some real destructive players. You seem to be the anchor that's there in the team. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. How did you find that? Is that something that you were told you would do, or is that your natural game?
No, it's definitely not tactical or anything along those lines. I think it's just sort of fallen into place, really. No, yeah, I just think it's my game, to be honest with you. I'm not the type of batter that's gonna run at a ball and hit him over the head for 6 and into the school or something like that, But we've got so many players that can do that. So I think it is important having players like me and Joe to just offer something slightly different than the rest of everyone.
Yeah, and it does affect the opposition, I guarantee it, when sometimes quality bowlers are happy for someone to go and get 15, 20 off and over and then 10 off the next over because they know they'll get them out the way they play him, whereas someone that offers a little bit different from there. So that's not a tactic that's, obviously I'm sure Ben and Dan have seen that for a period of time. And you're comfortable doing it. You play all around the wicket, your reverse sweeps and your different shots that me and Gary never even heard of are outstanding. And you're comfortable doing that. You could happily just bat all the way through and end up 80 or not 80 and we still get 300. Is that, you'd be comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'd very happily do that. I hope it happens sometime soon.
It will do. It will do. Don't worry about that. It's you're properly getting yourself into that sort of a role within the team. It's clear from the other players we've had on and Dan, when we've had Dan on, that he's very much into the mental side of the game, getting your mind right, not overthinking things. Has that affected you much in the way you've developed since Dan's been here?
Definitely. Yeah, I think since Dan's come in especially, just he reiterates all the time about just having a sole belief in what your strengths are. And when you're batting, falling, feeling, whatever you're doing, is that you should have a total, because if you don't, what is the point? Not what is the point, but sort of, why do anything different other than what you're best at? Because you're obviously going to be the most successful in that way, and it's going to help the team out the most, and you're going to enjoy your cricket more. I know we play a very high standard of cricket, but it's amateur sport at the end of the day, isn't it? The most important part is enjoying it and getting the most out of it.
Yeah, without a doubt, and that is something that we can certainly see from the side, and I certainly think the people on this recording understand and get it. It's taken a while for maybe some others that it's about enjoying it. If things don't go right, no one's going to die, and we move on. And because of the standard that you're all playing at and the quality and depth that there is there, it is fantastic to watch and great to see. What I'm going to do, Henry, we're going to talk through Saturday's game because obviously us three hosts were all there. We watched it from start to finish, really enjoyed it. Just give us your take, first of all, please, Henry, on how Saturday went, from the start, how the innings developed and how their innings developed, and then how we won it in the end.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good game. I bet it was a good game for the neutral, definitely, because there was a lot of big moments in the game, wasn't there? I thought we bowled really well. You know how they're going to play. They're quite similar to us in that sense. Kaz and Bedford, they're going to come off. They're going to try and be destructive as they can from the start, and then they'll have Oki and Adam, those type of players that are going to anchor the innings for the rest. And I think we know that, and especially because I think Kaz got 50 odd today, or 40 odd. We know that even if they're going to go off the way they do, that we back ourselves 100% to bowl them out. I know did we bowl them out?
No.
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 We
Were
shut
they
up
7 or 8
short,
down?
didn't they, with about 10 overs to go, so we didn't bowl them out.
Yeah, I don't really know how we didn't.
Anyway, but we're going to back them.
Yeah, but
yeah, we can go into that as to what happened, because it did seem a bit strange that at one stage when the middle order were coming back together, I thought they were going to get 200 here and maybe have 2 overs that they'd miss, but get over 200. Gary, we had, it was a strange old day, forecast blue sky, 25 degrees, and it ended up quite chilly and quite windy. What were your take on the game? Because obviously you were there for a lot of it, walking around the ground with us. How did you find it?
Yeah, it were almost a bit of a nail biter, and we looked comfortable for a bit in the end, chasing and then losing our wicket. I think, as the guys have said, they sort of seem to get off to not quite a flyer, but obviously a good start. And when we don't take wickets early on, we've got plenty of other bowlers who can come on and different actions, different speeds, different ends, etc. And Ben can always try and mix it up. And again, I think that I don't know how many bowling changes there were, but that did work quite well. I think Joy probably bowled the longest spell of any one bowler, and I think it was his, as he's done, I think, regular now for a good few weeks. When he's come on, he's really dried him up, and sometimes he's taking wickets off of the back of that pressure. Sometimes he's ending up with none for 21 off 10 or something like that. But he seems to have been the one that lately Ben's sort of turned to for a solid spell and wrestle back some sort of control if we've looked like losing it at all. Yeah, and they were like fits and starts, weren't they? Again, if you look at the 2 innings actually, because I was just looking at the stats yesterday on the game, and it didn't feel like it at the time, but the 50-run intervals were identical in terms of like how many, 25 overs or whatever it was, and it just didn't feel like that in the end. Like I said, I think Dooch mentioned it. Then it felt like at the end they were just trying to deny us getting that bonus bowling point and sort of shut up shop. But when you look at how progressive both innings were, they were virtually identical in terms of run rate through the overs. It just didn't feel like that watching it. It felt like we were relatively comfortable. It was just about making sure we kept enough wickets at the end not to make it squeaky bum. But we bat a long way down, don't we? I mean, even with 7-8 down or whatever, you're not worried when we've still got 30-40 to get. And sure enough, again, sort of Joy batted well. Chaz looked $1 million, I thought, when he came in. Everything were coming out of the screws. And I thought he was going to see it through. So yeah, and Johnny's was a solid 50. I think Tom scratchy at the start, but then got his groove, and again, I think when Charlie came in, a pair of them looked to really get on top. Then just looked so comfortable, and all the creative shots they put them away. They didn't need them. They were just get rid of the bad ball, knocking around the ones and twos, good running between the wickets, really running fielders ragged and stuff. So yeah, again, I think just workman-like performance really. In the end, it was just good, and a few heated moments, I guess, between odd players. Burnley again very frustrated with one or two umpiring decisions. I think they thought they'd probably got Johnny out, and and then sort of a few verbals started. I think that's when one or two comments started coming about asking about what we were talking about on podcast as well, allegedly. So that were interesting. A focus on game when you're fighting for relegation and all you're bothered about is what we're going to be doing on a Monday night. But interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good 10 points, I think, Jez, in the end.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you, and I'll come to you in a minute, Dukes, just for a 30-second input on how it went. I was really impressed, and Joe Martin or Henry, the way Tom Walker, and the way sometimes, and again, it's not a criticism, but it appears that type of player can throw it away in. It wasn't the best conditions. The wind is a real issue for cricketers, whether it's bowlers and batters. And Tom could have thought to himself, certainly with the pressure, what as Gary's alluded to, the chit chat, the banter, the sledging that was going on. Tom could have maybe lost his head a touch, and then all of a sudden he gets out caught on the edge. But I was really pleased he battered his way through that period, 90 balls for 54. And just, made the game ours. Was that something you as players noticed? First of all, you, Joe, and that Tom's been working on? Or is it just that's the natural game that we've got in those circumstances?
I mean, I think firstly it was a really kind of mature innings by Tom.
Yeah.
Played extremely well and has, certain areas that he wants to hit. And when he does, he executes that well and backs himself to do it. And if you get out doing that, I genuinely believe that that's fine. I think I think it's fine, and you kind of don't need to justify it. But I think he anchored the innings extremely well. He was really well paced in how he went about it, and batting with different people with different styles as well.
Yeah,
Francois came in and Toxie and Charlie, as Gary said, battered magnificently well. I think there was one shot that he played off Oki, I think, off the back foot. It was like a back foot drive through like cover point that went for 4. That was fantastic, really, really great. But I think just through Tom's innings, he just continued to kind of find a way to keep the scoreboard moving. Didn't really get bogged down at any point, and just kept us close enough when everybody else could try and be slightly more expansive in some cases. So it was a really, really well measured innings.
It was. I thought it was special. In the points I've alluded to, that he's potentially maybe thrown it away a little bit, or he's thinking, right, where can I score? How can I manage this instead of managing the game? So I was really pleased for him, and I genuinely think he'll learn a lot from that as to managing it. They tried everything, whether it was cricket related or chatting to him related. They did a fantastic job on trying to unnerve him, and he managed it really well. Henry, you're quite close to Tom. I know that you because of an age and because of the talent you've both got. How do you find Tom playing with him, and when he performs like that, what's his demeanour like?
You sometimes forget he's so young, to be honest with you, especially with that innings on Sunday. It's not often that a 22-year-old bats the way he did in such an important game, really, in a big derby like that. It's he's only 2 years older than me, and he's just you could just tell how talented he is, really, couldn't you, with that?
Yeah.
With that innings on Sunday, I thought.
Yeah.
What would he be?
Saturday,
Would he be
sorry.
the type of guy that would react to the chat Henry in the middle if Barrett were getting into him? Would Tom? What's his character like in that regard?
I don't think it would particularly anger him. He might talk back a little bit, but I think Tom more often than not lets his batting do the talking.
I think what was good as
Maybe not
well
when he's bowling.
what was good as well is what his innings and where Jez you essentially lead like throwing away what you mean. It's like out to an attacking shot when you think maybe there's a lot of time, but when you're batting at 4 and you're coming in after Johnny and Ben, who've more often than not, one of them, if not both of them, have got us off to good starts. You got Henry there who's looking solid. Congratulations on going through your 1,000 Lancashire League runs as well this weekend. At 20, that's a great milestone. Well done. I know we don't have a tail. We talk about it like a lot of clubs do from sort of 7, 8 down. But I don't think he's had that scenario of batting with the lower order per se, and that's where the pressure sort of creeps in. You think, oh wow, now a false shot, and we're 8 down or we're 9 down, and for me that was. He wasn't sheltering or hogging the strike, or farming the strike, trying to protect the tail or anything like that. That wasn't necessary. But I think that again is a good. I've done that. Tick. I can do that. We can rely on him in future. He knows the scenario. People are trusting each other in terms of their roles. So for me, that was another good moment, sort of subtly lost in the game, if you like, maybe.
Without a doubt, Gary. Without a doubt, it is something that you can see, and when in such a great day like we had, just us wandering around, you pick up all those sort of things, and it is great to see. Whilst we're building up Tom, and he's such a great performance, and the team, he can be a little bit daft as well, Henry, can't he?
Yeah, no comment. You mean in cricketing
what
terms?
What do you mean?
Yeah,
no comment.
I was in 2 minds.
So give us an example of how we can be daft.
Are we still talking about cricket?
No, it does have to be cricket.
He's not that daft. I think it's a bit harsh. I think he's pretty level-headed lad.
Does he do any impressions?
I'm not sure. You'll have to ask him.
Yeah, but he's not here. We're asking you.
I don't know. I've heard he's pretty good at impressions. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not exactly sure who he does them off.
No,
but no, I've heard that he's pretty decent at it.
Right, because I've heard a whisper him and Charlie Gansler are really quite good at them, but you can beat them at these impressions.
Who have you heard that from?
Well, from a lot of people. I've had a few messages today, and I did witness it one a few weeks ago, and I just wondered if you could give us one of your impressions.
Certainly not on here. No.
Okay then. Okay, we've
kind of gotcha moment, Jez. Is that if you were interviewing like a president? Is that what you'd ask them?
Oh, sure.
Are you good at impressions?
Because I know how good Henry is at doing
David Ross
impressions.
never asking anybody that.
I've heard their impressions of us lot of the Housecast, and it is so funny, and I would just hoping Henry could maybe give us one of his. I think he does 3, I believe.
No, maybe another day.
I did ask Gansler on Saturday to show me his version of me, but he declined.
Did he?
Yeah.
I don't know, kids these days.
Whoops.
But a great game, Henry. A good 10 points. Again, I'm going to come to you. It's not as pointed questions. It was clear there was things happening on the field, which I think cracky. It goes on and chit chat between people. But it's come to certainly my attention that maybe a few of the Burnley players listen to this podcast on a regular basis from what they said. Are you aware of any of the Burnley players listening to the podcast and what they talk about in the middle?
There's one in particular that likes to talk about the podcast, but who wouldn't? It's a very good show. So of course they're going to want to talk about it.
Yeah, and
who was it? Is it Barrett? We can say his name, can't we? I mean, we're not like going to get sued.
No, yeah. We can probably give him a shout out. I'll be watching this one, won't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, allegedly he asked Johnny what he was going to talk about on the podcast on Monday, and Johnny pointed out he's not on it every week, and Barrett says, "Oh, you seem to be every time I listen." And there were another couple that were chirping up about it, and that's why I was thinking, we've gone from legendary to famous, and other clubs. I didn't think anyone had listened to it, but for our own fans. So that's a proper achievement. I mean, Adam might know how many. We're up to hundreds an episode now that are listening. So
Don't
yeah, all
forget,
good.
Jez, Barrett's ex-Lowerhouse. So maybe that's why he listens, because he's still, heavily interested in his original club.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
We're catering for different audiences with
exactly.
a variety of topics. I mean, how can you resist? Guess the winner, for example, as a feature.
That got some great feedback. Apparently last week, within 28 hours, or no, 38 hours, Adam spoke with 726 different people that had listened to it, which is some achievement, really. And it's probably because of the game that was created. Guess the winner. Have we got the jingle for it? We could maybe put the jingle in.
Well, I'm sure we can do, but people have to wait for that game for the end of the month. Again.
Yeah, I suppose, they'd have to wait for that.
Guess it right, don't be a quitter. It's time to play. Guess the winner.
And before we go on, we want to talk about the second team, and there's a few questions, Henry, that we need to ask of you from some of our supporters and followers. Adam's put out on social media any questions for our guests, so we've got they've been raining in this afternoon. So I think buckle yourself in, and I don't know if you want a lawyer, but just get ready for when the questions when the questions come in. We between us, I was trying to predict on a logical basis of how many points we would get and other teams would get around us, just trying to work out, quite selfishly, which games I've got to be getting myself across to watch for when we win the league. And I know you don't like it, Joe Martin, me saying that, but your skipper liked it, so because it's a foregone conclusion. So I started looking at the different points and came up with a bit of a daft game called the Housecast Point Predictor.
Guess the points in another.
Guess the points, we could call it that. It's still in its infancy, but for the listeners, it's basically 8 clubs, the top 8 clubs in the league, to work out how many points they're going to get in a particular game. So I think we ended up with 22 people submitting. There's no money gone in. There's no prizes for it. It was all for a bit of fun. But it's worth just quickly looking at, if that's all right with you guys, and just to see a few pointers. The scoring went, how far you were off the actual points the club achieved was with the points you got. So obviously the lowest points was better than someone who'd got a lot more points. And believe it or not, Paul Stanley won.
Oh, fantastic.
So out of eight predictions, where you think there's not many between 1 and 12, I'm sure Gary you'd know how many numbers there is that you can't get. I think possibly, I don't think you can get 6, can you? I don't think you can get 8 or 9.
You can definitely get 6.
How?
Tie.
But you bolt team out first innings, get 2 points, and then get within 20 of their score for 4 batting points.
Yes, you can, and a tie 7, so it's 8 and 9 you can't get, I think.
You can get 9 if you get a tie and bowl the side out. Is that not 9?
Yeah, good point, Gary.
No, 2
I mean,
points.
it's a good job you know all this, isn't it, just for the rules of your game. Jesus.
Sounds like Stanley's in the right job then. If he won that round.
So Stanley ended up getting. It was only 8 points off getting the whole number of points obtained. Right. Which some might say, as manager of the first team, he should know what's going on. It's a little bit awkward when our head of selector and chief cricket coordinator gets 33 points.
I'm only interested in Lowerhouse.
Blaise got 10, Chippy 11, Frank 14, Adam 15.
How many did Chippy's lad get? Did he play?
No, I think Chippy put these in before. Joe Martin, Chippy's lad was absolutely Jaden. He was fantastic. We kept walking around ground and asking questions about why don't they get 2 runs when they run, because they both run 1. That was one of his questions. And why, when you've got 11 players, can you only get 10 wickets?
Why can't the last batter bat on his own?
It's a fair question.
You know, how do we know who's batting first? All these sort of things. But I think the thing that tipped it for me, Gary and Fran were walking around quite a bit, and he'd obviously picked up on the name Morehouse, and he whispered to his dad, "Isn't it a real coincidence that Gary and Fran are called Lowerhouse?" Bless him. So anyway, Dooch, you're you're the permanent critic. What do you think? Should we do it again next week? This points predictor.
Yeah, I think we should do it again. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been nice to know the scoring rules before we all participated, I suppose. But yeah, why not?
It'd have been
Would it
nice
have made a
to know the
difference?
rules.
I'd have still got 38.
I weren't going to tell anyone, Gary.
It's all right, Jez. I know.
I mean, it's worth just mentioning, like I said, there's only 8 clubs that I wanted the predictions from, and some of the clubs were playing each other. So, for example, Darwin and Haslingden. So, people would put 10 points for Darwin, 3 points for Haslingden. There were one, again, prominent member down at Lowerhouse, Darwin versus Haslingden, 16 points.
Who were that, Jez?
Stan. So that was, I had to unravel that. But all right, we'll do it again. And if anyone's listening and they want to have a go, then just send me a message and I can get it out to you. And then maybe something we can develop next year just to have a little bit of fun. And if we want to put £1 a week on and it builds up, then we can do that. So but before we come back to Henry and go to the questions, it's got to be worth a shout out once again to the second team. A great victory. Again, it's, and I know you won't like it, Joe Martin, it's a foregone conclusion. Is that table?
I think the promotion probably isn't far off now, I would say.
Yeah, 42 points above Enfield.
Knowing how many points are they above third?
Yeah, that's Enfield.
That's
it.
Enfield in third, are they? Okay, got you.
Yeah, so that's 42 points. So another great victory. Dooch, I know you were down watching the first team, but I know you've done a lot of work this week studying this game. Do you want to talk us through how it went at Crompton, please?
Yeah, can do. Yeah, I was watching the first team, but I was keeping a very, very close eye, as I always do, on the on Play Cricket, and I spoke to Bithell and Will after the game. It's a near perfect performance as you can get, really. I mean, they were playing a team who were in fifth. Crompton are, they're not rubbing rags by any stretch. And our boys obviously racked up 267 batting first, thanks to Metcalf getting a ton. He probably hasn't scored as many runs as what we all thought he would do this year, Declan, after the year he had last year. But it's great to see him finally getting a significant landmark, and Shawcat as well, 76 from just 70 balls. So that sort of propped the innings up, and like I say, we got 267, and then we wrapped it up in 20 odd overs, bowling him out quickly. So just a shout out for young Jax Edwards, who's only played a handful of games, and he got 4 wickets. So yeah, I think it's probably about as comprehensive a victory as you can get. And when you throw in the fact that the skipper arranged his engagement party for the night before the game, and half the team were pissed to then throw that performance in and win so comprehensively, with a few fuzzy heads, then I think it's an even bigger achievement. But like I said to Will and Bithell, it's interesting. All the main protagonists who performed in the game, Deck Metcalf, he don't drink. Shawcat, he don't drink. Jax Edwards, and
he's not allowed to drink
again with the ball. So all the lads who were pissed that they do on Friday night did nothing, and they were propped up by the young lads who weren't there.
That's a great point. That 9 wickets for 40 runs off less than 10 overs between those two young lads, Shawcat and young Edwards.
Shawcat's up to 40 wickets this year in the twos.
Yeah, and gets runs.
I don't think he's going to get many more, unfortunately. He's got a job on Sundays now. He can't play on Sundays.
There won't be many more Saturday games.
There won't be any more Saturday games, no.
No, so a great performance again from the second team. Well done, and let's keep that going. As I've said, 181 points, 147 points. Greenmount behind them. We've won 15, they've won 11. So let's keep that going, because as you said, Joe, it's so important to get promoted and get into that junior division, Division 1. A great effort from all of you for the from the weekend. So back to you, Henry. How have you found the training within the first team and the liaison with the second team, how everyone works together? Is that something that you enjoy, or do you think it should be like the first team squad only?
No, I think it's great bringing the second teamers in because you've got to expose them as much as you can because they're the next players that are going to get first team opportunities, aren't they? So I think it's great that the second teamers get involved in the training. They've been doing it a lot this season. It's great, really good.
Yeah, and it does work because you get that whole same attitude within games, and you never know, a few injuries or real dip in form or whatever, they could be straight in the first team. So it does work, and again, because of Ben and Dan, the way that they manage the whole structure, the training regime, it does work really well. Anything else from Gary or Dooch or Joe before we go into the questions for Henry?
No, I think we've already mentioned it, but obviously Hennes went past 1,000 runs in his Lancashire League career this weekend, and you had no idea, H, I believe, that you're anywhere near. So it's a great effort, especially considering this is your first year batting at 3. I think my only question would be, how was from when you've batted 7 and 8 maybe in your first year, batting at 5 and 6 last year, have you made any changes or have you approached anything differently when you've had to bat 3 this year?
I think the only difference that I felt is sort of not, but probably good pressure, if anything, like that. When I'm going out to bat, that I'm a key part of our batting order where, if I don't get runs, we might not win the game, or if I do get runs, it's going to massively help us win. So I think that's, if anything, it's been good, and it's been really nice to be a part of and a big part of the team in general.
It's been great watching you. I'm sorry, Gary, I interrupted you.
No, I think I introduced you, Job, but yeah, no, it bodes well to have a successful season and at the same time have such a positive of developing a couple of the younger elements in key positions in the team, opening the bowling, batting at 3, 4, again at 5 when Gansler's been playing 6. Those sort of senior positions, if you like, junior players. So confidence in their abilities from the selection through to the captaincy. And not trying to hide them. This is a big game, or we're chasing 250, or drop them down, change the batting order around, and things like that. I think it's for me, that's the sustainable element of what we see next year and the year after and the year after that. And you've got a couple of 100 runs in Worsley Cup already as well. So I think those totals and averages and stuff are only going to get better. The experience getting now. Be honest, nobody gets 50 every week or anything like that. So there's going to be some tough days, but I think it's just, you must feel good about getting that opportunity, and you're grabbing it with both hands at the moment, I think.
Yeah, and you're looking good with it, Henry. I know you won't rest. Your dad won't let you rest on your laurels. So it is. It's a great achievement, so congratulations for that. So we're just going to some of these questions. There's apparently one of your nicknames that have been knocking around for a while is Snoozo. Can you just explain us what that's about?
Well, about 3 years ago, probably my first year in the first team, I had a day where I was a little bit, as you called, snoozy in the field and out in the boundary, and misfielded a couple, was a bit off my game a bit, but it was 3 years ago, and it's stuck.
Right.
Bit unfair, really. But...
Well, you say that, you did it, and these things stick, So it's just, it might disappear when you're your mid-40s, but that's life. What about? There's a question here. Talk us through how anyone can turn up to a cricket ground with no gear, and what happened.
Was that 3 years ago as well? This one?
Oh, that was last year.
What happened, Henry?
We were going to Littleborough away, which is the furthest ground away from Lowerhouse, my Thailand.
Yeah. So you say we? Who's we?
Me and my dad.
Okay.
I was in the car with my dad. I usually drive myself.
Okay.
So my cricket bag stays in my boots.
Okay.
And in the morning, I hadn't transferred bag over to my dad's car. And then when
Right.
we got to Littleborough, as I was getting out of the car, I realised, and Ben got there at the same time as us and was right next to me. So I like ran round to the corner of my car and whispered to my dad that I didn't have my bag. So which then he shouted it very loudly. And yeah, my mum had to come and bring my bag for me.
Right.
Very kind of her.
Yeah, it was very good. And what was the significance about it being the furthest ground away from home?
Well, it took a very long time for my bag to get here.
Right.
So
Okay.
I think we were more than like 15 overs into the game, and Littleborough's change room is at the opposite side of the ground to the car park.
Right.
So 15 overs into the game, everyone's seeing me doing a lap with my bag on, coming around with my bag on. So yeah, I got a bit of stick for
Right.
Did you have your whites? Or no, did you have nothing?
No, I did have my
at all?
whites. I had my
Oh, you had
whites.
your
I just
whites,
didn't have
yeah.
my cricket bag with
Yeah.
my spikes and my kit in.
Right, okay.
Right. And what did
Village.
your dad say when you whispered to him?
I don't think I can repeat that on here.
Right. Okay. Okay. I would imagine, knowing Charlie as well as I know him, he would have found it slightly funny.
Not at the time. After, yes, but not at the time.
Yeah. Not the time. He was annoyed with you. So that's interesting. And I'm guessing it's not something you'll ever do again.
You never know with me. Hopefully not.
A question from, well, they're all pseudonyms, this, so it doesn't tell. Who'd win in a 100-metre race between you and Dick Stansfield?
Between me and Dex Stansfield,
Yeah.
I'd probably say me. I don't know.
Right,
What do you guys think?
You're a bit like a whippet round that boundary edge, and I've not really seen Dick run that much, but maybe we could arrange something.
Deck's a lot more aerodynamic, though, isn't he?
Maybe we could arrange something before in the next few weeks. I don't really understand this one, so I'm going to read it as it says. I know Joe's got a couple as well, and I'm sure Gary's got something up his sleeve. So this is word for word, Henry. Talk us through when you picked Matt Hope for Jean Cap at Church Away for the seconds.
I think I was only 15, 14. It was like my first season in the seconds.
Right.
And we had like a thing going where I'm sure you've heard of it, the Gene Cap. We don't do it anymore. Or they don't do it anymore, sorry. But whoever has been so say I went to Littleborough without my bag, I would have got the Gino for the day because I've been the idiot of the day, basically.
Right, okay.
Hope was...
We used to rig it so there were two standout candidates, and the team would vote on who would get it, and it would always be 5-5 after 10 votes, and we would nominate somebody to have the casting vote.
Right.
And Henry had the casting vote this week, and it was Matt, or I don't know, probably someone like Aggers or someone like that. And
right.
Henry stuck the knife in on Skipper Matt.
Right. I bet that went down well.
Yeah, there's a video of it somewhere. There's a video of it.
Is there?
It's good. Yeah.
Hi, Chaz.
Were you just flashing V's then, Henry?
It's Chaz.
I know it's Jazz.
Sorry.
Fucking blind you or what? Sorry.
Have to
He has got lights off.
You all right, Chaz? How you doing?
Good mate, are you?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Nearest we've got to getting you on this.
No, yeah, I've just been building a fence panel.
Right, lovely.
Yeah.
Has it gone well?
I haven't put it in the thing yet, so I don't know if I've measured it properly, but
Right.
I've spent about 3.5 hours doing it, so I hope I have.
Right.
You rang me, Chaz, I'd come and give you a lift.
Yeah, I thought you might. I knew you were busy doing this, Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
Shields will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got some good DIY mates, Charlie, haven't you, with Shieldsy and Dooch to help you out no end. So, Charlie, your lad's come across really well on this. You must be proud of him, what he's done.
Well, in terms of this sort podcast or life or cricket or what?
Well, not remembering his bag. We don't need to go down that route. Just around his career at Lowerhouse so far, getting 1,000 runs, and his contribution to a very successful team. It must be something. And you're playing the same side. It's fantastic to watch. You must be proud of that.
Yeah, very. I love it. Love it.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I wouldn't have been playing unless Henry was playing now.
Yeah.
But it's good. I enjoy it. He's done really well. I think. Yeah. I have no idea how long it normally takes to get 1,000 runs, to be perfectly honest, but it looks I always remember back to when I was first starting, and I didn't feel comfortable playing in the first team until I was like 23, 24. And these youngsters that come in, even when Keegan comes in the odd game, they just look really confident nowadays. So but proud of the young lad.
Good. Yeah, he's doing a great job, and credit to you and Louise for the way he is and the way he's come across on here. And the standard now, Charles. It's fantastic that you're still good enough and fit enough to play in that side, because it's a hell of a side when you look back over. Going back when you first started, or even I first started, there hasn't been a better side that they've currently got there now. Do you enjoy playing in there? I know you said you're playing in there with, because of Henry, and you want to enjoy all those periods, but you still look like you're enjoying every game. Is that about right?
Yeah. When I said if I wasn't enjoying it as well, I wouldn't be playing either, Chess. So I am enjoying it. The dressing room is good. It's as good as when we used to play in terms of the crack that we have. And obviously they are a great team. When you look at the players in the side, sometimes I look back at some of the decent teams that we've had in the past and look at some photos, and I think actually we weren't that good. I think what we were good at winning games because of how close we were at times, I think, as well. Whereas you look at this team, and every one of them's an exceptional player, aren't they?
And I think it goes to, when you look at, is there any weak links? Who could, someone, you look at Will Norcross, or you look at Keegan, like you says, or when Frankie came back, or Blaise, all these players, there is no real spaces where you're 100% right. Even when, from maybe 2005 onwards, when you started winning even more after the cup final in 2 and 4, there was always someone that maybe would drop out because of form. These are just exceptional. And are you enjoying? I know you've always been a bit of a fitness geek, but are you enjoying the way Dan runs things, the mind games, the attitude side of it? Because that is different. We were all, we'd run through a brick wall for each other, and we'd die and we'd sulk for 2 weeks if we got beat. It's not that like that now. How have you managed that? One of the senior players.
It talks a bit much for my liking, to be honest, Dan. I am very much like you just said. We just get on with it, don't we? And kind of do our best, and all the psychological side of it, and the tactics, and the stuff they talk about at training is beyond me, to be honest, mate. I get a bit bored.
Right.
But obviously, it's great for the kids, and Ben loves it, Johnny loves it. I think you've got to be that kind of person. You've definitely got to be that kind of person. But I'm not knocking it, really. I'm joking. It's great for the team.
Yeah,
Dan's been fantastic for the team. The like I just talked about, this, it's as good a crack as we've had in a long time.
Yeah,
and that's probably all down to Ben and Dan bringing it.
Yeah, and I appreciate what you're saying about you're a bit long in the tooth for that change of mentality, and it's easy for me to say, and I don't know whether Gary thinks the same. But you've got a smile on your face a lot, and I don't just mean you, Charlie. I mean the whole team. And even when things aren't going well, it's not. And I know it's easier when you're a great side than when some of the sides we had. But they won't be going home sulking for days like we used to, and then looking, you're looking, thinking, shit, next week we've got Aslington and they're top of league, they're going to beat us, and it becomes unenjoyable. So as a spectator, I love watching the attitude of you all now, and that includes you and the other players. So that maybe can prolong you carrying on playing as you are doing, I guess. I don't know, Gary, what you've listened to Dan on this, and you listened to the attitude. Do you think you would buy into it like a lot of the younger ones have?
I would just, there was a story kept coming back, just came back to me then about maybe the sort of differences in that. And I suspect that the captain and the professional wouldn't take 15-year-olds into the lane ends after a game had been rained off for their for their grown-ups to come and drag them out and bollock the senior players for letting it happen. Is that right, Charlie?
Well, it definitely used to happen, mate. I know that, but I don't think it would. No. I think going back to what you were saying, Jez, I think they've taken the fear factor out of the cricket. Definitely, and that's in terms of not scared against playing against any teams. We don't have that fear factor anymore. Yeah. And in their own games as well. So they're not in no way are they scared to fail as long as they're doing the right things, as long as they've got a plan, and they're trying to execute it properly at the right time of the game. Then they're not scared of failing at all. And I think that's probably why they look happy all the time because they generally are.
Yeah, and it's a difficult to get into. And it's not just sport, you could say in life or work or your own different social circles, to be happy and comfortable with what you're doing. And at the end of the day, whether you're a firefighter or a policeman, things at work sometimes are life and death. But a game of cricket, it's not. Whereas we used to think it was the end of the world, and it's so refreshing to see. And once Dan's gone and you've gone, Charlie, I think these players will do that and they will carry on. But it's like Gary alluded to, we were back in our day. I think there was a lot of, not selfishness, but there were, batters battered and bowlers bowled. And some people would maybe have a little bit of joy because someone's failed because they might get up the batting order or they might get a shot the week after. But that doesn't seem to be the case with this lot. So, no, it's brilliant to see, Charlie. And let's, are you one of these, it's not over yet, we'll keep going, or do you think we've pissed it?
I think we've pissed it, Paul.
Good lad. Good lad. Look at John Martin.
He's literally the only pessimist on the side, isn't he, Jez? He's no different to what he's always been.
Exactly.
Scared to death.
Yeah.
Everything.
Scared to death of everything. I mean, from our workings out, I think 4 points at Rochdale at home will win it. That's my forecast, but we'll see. Joe Martin, whilst we're on about being scared to death, just talk us through those two incidents on Saturday. Went ball it in the chest, and then when you slipped. Cheers, Charlie.
Well, what do you want? The ball hits me in my chest every week.
Not as bad as that one on Saturday.
What do you mean, not as bad as that one? It was Tom had bowled a bouncer and it went over the head and then bounced and then hit me in my chest.
Yeah, but your gloves weren't anywhere near it.
Well, that's just a common occurrence of my wicket-keeping technique.
And what about the one where the fielder's throwing the ball in and you're doing it was almost like a turtle impression.
I slip quite a lot,
Yeah, I know you do, but I think you might need to have a look at your studs.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Good. Well, that was fantastic to get your dad on, Henry, and I don't think he stole the show. I think you've done a sterling job whilst you've been on. I'll just ask the other lads if they've any more questions for you, maybe around... Well, I'll see if we've got any more questions. Gary, anything from you for Henry before we wrap up?
Not for me, thanks, Jez. No,
brilliant.
All been said.
Thanks, Gaz. Joe Martin?
No questions.
No. Dooch?
I've got a couple.
Oh, good.
One's another nickname one.
Yep. Some
nickname that you've been given recently that's something to play on your surname. Do you want to share that with us?
Henry Cottam. Yeah. That one.
Why Henry Cottam?
I dropped 2 catches in a T20 against Church. Happens. Everyone drops catches, don't they?
Yeah, I thought it might have been someone else.
Especially Joe Beneducci. I've heard plenty of stories about Joe Beneducci dropping catches. So
I haven't got that many, really.
No.
I never got a nickname
based
around dropping catches anyway, let's put it that way.
It'd be hard to rhyme your nickname with that, Joe.
That's it. That's all the questions I've got for Henry. Drew Peacock's written a couple of things, but it's all about Burnley. I don't know if we want to go into that. He sent me an email it was like 7:30 on Sunday, so I think it was after the cup final.
A few moments later.
This isn't... No, we don't need to talk.
It's Drew Peacock, though.
Correspondent.
He's a patriarch for this.
Can I talk about the 3s and 4s?
Go on, Joe. Give us their recent results. That'd be fantastic.
They both won at the weekend. Really good. So the 4s beat the Rami women. Ball out for 117 or 18, I think, and then knocked them off. Some really good performances in there. And then
I think Lib played for Rami, didn't she?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And then the 3s won at home against Great Harwood. Again, some really good performance. Adam got 60 odd, and Joe Clark got 40 odd. So yeah, they played really well. Played really well all weekend, and especially the 4s, considering how young they are. Pinky's doing a really great job with that team, and they're playing some really good cricket as well. So excellent stuff all round for the 3s and 4s on Sunday.
It was like Pied Piper on Saturday. I saw him down on the Burnley game, and he came on, and all the all stars and all the kids were just they love him. They're flocking around him, and it sounds like he's doing a good job. Good asset to have back.
Magnificent, Gary. Fantastic. Really great.
Yeah, those Wednesday nights with the likes of Pinky and your Paddy, Joe, and the other helpers and the coaches, it's a real pleasure to watch. And again, shout out to Stan and for organising everything behind the scenes. It's just like a conveyor belt, which is fantastic to see. Just quick, I meant to ask this question. The pitch on Saturday, did it? I've discussed this before. Wind, I used to hate wind, whether it's cricket or football. Was the pitch playing well enough, or did is Tom Walker's innings quite quite the way that any player should play on that type of pitch? Joe Martin, can you answer that? I know you never look at it, but
yeah, no, I didn't really look at it. I think it was a perfectly fine wicket. I don't think it was particularly fast. I don't think it was a fast wicket. I didn't bat in it in the second innings, so I can't really say. Henners, did it turn a lot in the second innings, do you think?
Only faced one ball of spin.
Okay.
But no, it was relatively flat. It was staying a little bit low from the park end towards the clubhouse, but other than that, it was pretty good wicket to bat on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Especially against pace.
Yeah. I mean, Tom, and I think Harry Snowden as well, actually. I think they both bowled, no, just Tom, I think. Can't remember. I wasn't really paying attention. Tom bowled quicker from the park end against the wind than he did with the wind in his first spell. Actually.
Right.
I don't think Snowden bowled from.
He did second spell too. And he bowled.
Oh, did he?
Tom said he bowled very quick in his second spell.
Yeah.
So as we're getting triggered because as soon as that wind gets up and he sees somebody running in off sight screen from park end, and he used to have to do 25 overs, and he begrudges people only being limited to like 15 overs these days.
Yeah, and being able to bowl from either end, I just used to get forced by Gary
Terrible
von
captain.
Morrison to bowl from one end all the time. No, I think it does it because the way Stan and Wado go about it, and the bits of bats of rain that's been about, it's good that they can keep getting the quality pictures out there. Right, I've not a great deal else other than congratulations to Rami. They won the Worsley Cup final yesterday, beating Burnley at Burnley. I think they battered them really when you look at the scores and what have you. But two sides that are clearly not going to win the league, so good that they fought that out. Anything else on a final point before I close the podcast? No, Henry, I'd really appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much for the awkward questions. You managed them quite well, only quite well. But really appreciate you coming on and getting your dad there for giving us 5 minutes of his time, which we really appreciate. So good luck for the rest of the season. You'll get that winner's medal. Don't worry about that. Don't concern yourself with Joe Martin's pessimism. But thanks very much for coming on, Henry. Anything you want to say before we conclude it? Anything to your mates, Tom or Gansler?
No, it's been a pleasure. But I suppose to whoever that last question was from, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Do you want to do a quick impersonation before we turn off?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm okay. I think you've got some a video. Well, you've got an audio of it, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
I'll leave that there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening. Don't forget, we will be doing the super draw and carrying out the points predictor over the next few weeks. So if you want to join either of them, give us a shout and then we can talk about them on here. So thanks everyone for listening and good night.